John DePietro on the Hey everybody, my name is welcome you to another segment of Salisbury 500. You know, it's a show that we put together a week or so ago, and talking with interesting people that I've met through Assumption College. And I will tell you this right up front, Assumption College doesn't sponsor this show. They don't sanction it. In fact, they might not even know about it. However, let's let others know about it, because right down in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen, you'll see a red button that says subscribe. Please hit that button, and then a little bell will show up. Hit the bell too. And when you do that, every new show that we have coming on will be sent to you before it goes to the general public. So with that being said, let's welcome our guest for today. We go into the classroom at Assumption. He wasn't one of my classmates, because you'll see he's much older than me. But he is coming from the classroom, and instead of being on the student side, he's on the instructor side. Say hello to Andy Lacombe from, I got to call it the right name now, Andy, Spectrum.
Yes.
TV.
Yep, Spectrum News and Assumption College, John. Thanks for having me.
Right. So thank you so much for being with us, because I know being in the news business today, Andy, it's like a double whammy for you. Not too long ago, you folks at Spectrum went into a 24-hour news programming situation. Little did you know that shortly into your program, you would get into news that is 24/7 breaking, no evergreen stories, no little stories that you can put on about nice things that happen in the community. Right. It's got to be a challenging time for you.
Yeah, you know, like you said, we went to 24/7 format on December 6th. And a month later, January, 2 months later into February, we're like, all right, well, we're starting to get our feet under us. Where are we going to go from here, from doing 2 nightly shows to going 24/7? And then the coronavirus pandemic comes in end of February, beginning of March, and it kind of just uproots our world. And it's amazing what our operations people can do, and what our journalists are doing right now, because, you know, we're all scattered around Massachusetts. Right. And still trying to cover the news of the day.
Right. And when you got into the business almost 20 years ago, what you're doing now, broadcasting from your living room,
yes,
you would need a giant remote truck, like a trailer truck, to be pulled up into your house in Auburn to be able to do what we do now, and even what we're doing right now with this particular show. Isn't the
it's
technology
incredible.
Amazing?
Yeah, it's incredible. I mean, right now we can have anchors going live from their living rooms, and they're doing it at the national level. They're doing it across markets everywhere, and they're doing it with a backpack transmitter, which is about this big, and in some cases even smaller devices, just a computer or an iPad or an Apple or a Mac, something like that. So it's incredible, and the connectivity of our country, our culture, our business right now is amazing. I used to kind of make fun of my wife, who's a graphic designer and has worked from home for years. Oh, I'll never be able to do that. Yeah. Enjoy it. And now, having done it for the last 6 weeks or so, I have a lot of respect for people that work from home. It's not as easy as it might sound to the unknown anyway.
Right. You know, Andy, the news cycle used to be totally different, where big companies, if they wanted to get a story to drop on the national news, they would release it at 4 o'clock in the afternoon or 5 and that type of thing. You know, President Trump still goes on at 5:30 in order to monopolize, or not necessarily monopolize, but to get on at 6. The news it's 24/7 now. There's no way is it just 6 and 11.
No, and I tell my students that at Assumption, and whether it's broadcast journalism or social media, now, we used to be able to wait for the evening paper to come out. If you remember the evening paper, you used to be able to wait for the 6 o'clock news, and now there's a constant, ever-changing news cycle. Social media does this. 24-hour news networks do this, or have contributed to this, and we're constantly looking for something, looking to freshen things up. And what I always talk to my students about, and our people about at work, is, we want to be first if we can, but we want to be right. And so there's always that challenge in this ever-changing cycle.
Yeah, exactly. So the other thing is this: You're teaching students that are anywhere between 18 and 21 years old. You must see the difference in the way they get their news, because I know when I've taught and I said, how many of you wake up to a radio, a clock radio in the morning? They look at me like, what are you, crazy? I mean,
Right.
you know, they hold their phone up and that's how they get their info. And I'm sure that you see it on the TV side as well.
Yeah, and we see it. We have analytics that show that as well. A lot of people get their news from digital sources, from remotes, from telephones. My students love Instagram. A lot of news organizations are going to Instagram. Not everyone's there. Some news organizations going using Snapchat. We still use Facebook a lot because a lot of people are on Facebook, and a lot of people, have more time to look at Facebook. It seems like when you're staying at home longer. So you're trying to reach people through different ways to try to bring them to what we're trying to do.
Yeah, exactly. Now, when you're dealing with students in Worcester, I mean, you've hired a lot of your own students at one time. I think Cam is with you now, and there were a couple other people that have been there before. You're a Worcester person. I mean, Auburn, right?
Sure.
Okay. So many times you see people that are delivering news, whether it's out of Boston or on the national level, and they're not really familiar with the territory that they're dealing with. You grew up here. You know Worcester. You know the proximity to Auburn and Shrewsbury and Spencer and Grafton and Millbury, et cetera. Do you feel that it gives you an edge because you know the area when you're reporting on the news?
I mean, I think so. And I also think, for me and for some of the locals that we've hired, it's personal. I mean, this is a big city. It's the second largest city in New England, and it deserves local news, not just news coming from Boston or from New York or from other places. It deserves people on the ground and people talking about areas that they know and relating it to our viewers. I think it's a big deal. Yes.
Andy, your favorite story in the years, again, you were a street guy and now you're an office guy, and you're probably thrown out on the street now as well. Sure. when the need arises. But favorite story you've covered?
There have been a lot, but it always goes back to a Little League baseball team that went to the Little League World Series in 2002, I think it was.
Is that almost 20 years?
I think it's almost 20 years ago. The Jesse Burkett Little League team, and Kevin Shea and I went down there, and we were going for 3 days, but they kept winning. And so we ended up being there for over a week, buying clothes at Kmart and other places because we didn't pack for it, and literally going from hotel to hotel because we didn't plan for it. But it was a great ride, a great positive story. I love sports, obviously, but it was a lot of fun. And to this day, it's probably professional sports, other types of news, politics, which I love, still my most cherished experience in memory of covering the news.
So lean back again so we can see your Assumption shirt.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You teach there. Talk about the kids. Talk about the fact that they're not necessarily going to Assumption to be broadcast journalists. Right. So they have liberal arts courses. They have philosophy, religion, science, English, etc. How does that help them in their capability to cover the news?
I mean, honestly, the importance of a liberal arts education, I talk to students from Boston College, from Providence, from other places, people that want to get into this business. I think it's important to have a well-rounded experience. Journalism school is very important. They teach you a lot of things, but you can learn a lot of things on your own. And really, it's being a self-starter. And you see that a lot with students that have a well-rounded experience. And you know what? A quick plug for our program. We're hiring some people out of Assumption College, and there's some people doing some really nice things in the broadcast world and in journalism. So you can do it. You can get it done, even if you don't go to a Syracuse or a Boston University or other places. A liberal arts education, again, in the way they modify it goes from there, is important. You need to be well-rounded in all facets.
And we should say you did go to a great school down in Providence and another school out in Syracuse. So you kind of have the liberal arts thing. Western Civ, right, Andy? 2 years of Western Civ.
2 years of Western Civ, 8:30 in the morning for an hour, Monday through Friday, 5 days a week.
Wow. Yep. Yeah, exactly. So unfortunately, we're out of time in this segment. Although you only get like a minute and a half to do your segment. I've got 9 minutes to do mine. You've been such a joy to have with us. Will you come back at another time and talk a little bit more about the different aspects of broadcasting to our audience?
Absolutely. I'd be happy to, John.
Great. So, folks, thank you so much for joining us on this edition of Salisbury 500. Stay tuned to this YouTube channel for more stories as we present them. Have a great day, everybody.